All right, so today we're going deep on something you might not expect. Swimming squirrels.
Swimming squirrels.
Yeah, we're going way back like 100 years or so to look at some really fascinating animal behavior observations, specifically from the Journal of Mammalogy.
Okay.
And it turns out those cute bushy-tailed little critters, the ones we see scampering up trees, they have a hidden talent.
Oh, I like where this is going. It really does challenge our assumptions about what squirrels can do.
It really does. We tend to categorize animals, I think, just based on like our limited observations, but
Yeah,
nature is full of surprises.
it really is.
So let's jump right in. This 1922 journal entry. It describes a squirrel swimming across a lake.
What?
Not just a little dip, like a considerable distance.
Wow.
Yeah, the author, they describe it as swimming calmly and evenly with head well up, shoulders nearly submerged, but rump and tail high.
Hmm.
Almost like a tiny furry otter.
That's incredible. So what was the squirrel doing taking a swim across a lake?
Well, the author speculates that the squirrel was driven by either food scarcity or the urge to explore new territory.
Interesting.
But here's what's even more interesting is there's another account in the same journal, and a professor found a red squirrel in the stomach of a pike he caught in a Michigan lake.
Oh, wow. So swimming for these squirrels might not just be a leisurely activity, it could be a matter of survival.
Right. It sounds like it.
That's wild. And hold on, what's even wilder is that the locals weren't even surprised by this discovery.
Really?
Yeah. It seems like squirrels taking a dip in the lake was pretty common knowledge back then.
Huh. This raises the question, why haven't we seen more evidence of this behavior if it's so common?
Yeah, why haven't we?
Maybe we haven't been paying close enough attention.
Maybe.
We tend to see what we expect to see, right?
Oh,
It makes you wonder what other squirrel secrets are hiding in plain sight.
that's a good point.
Hold on, because this journal also had some interesting observations about the gray squirrel. So one hunter documented a rare sighting of a gray squirrel in a region dominated by red squirrels.
That is interesting, especially since those two are known rivals.
Exactly. And get this particular gray squirrel had some injuries,
Oh!
possibly from encounters with those red squirrels.
Oh, wow.
The hunter guessed that it might have been driven out of its usual territory,
Hmm,
maybe searching for food, a mate, or even just safety.
makes sense.
So not only can they swim, but these gray squirrels are venturing into enemy territory.
That's a real-life wildlife drama.
It is. It really is. But wait, there's more. Our deep dive takes a bit of a turn here. We're switching gears to talk about buffalo.
Buffalo. What do buffalo have to do with swimming squirrels?
Well, this next excerpt shows how our understanding of the natural world can sometimes be a bit, well, off.
Oh.
So we have an excerpt here from early records of buffalo in California.
California. That seems a little out of place, doesn't it?
It does, and that's because early explorers mistakenly documented buffalo in areas that are actually Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming.
Oh, so their geography skills weren't quite up to par.
Sounds like it. Looks like even the experts can get things wrong sometimes.
Does that happen?
It really highlights how knowledge is constantly evolving.
It really does.
What we consider fact today could be revised or reinterpreted tomorrow.
You got it.
It's a good reminder to stay curious and open to new information.
I agree.
So we've learned that squirrels can swim, gray squirrels are bold adventurers, and even historical records can be surprisingly inaccurate.
It's true. And it reminds us that we shouldn't take anything for granted. You know, even seemingly simple observations about animals like squirrels.
Right.
There's always more to uncover.
That's a great point. It's like we're constantly peeling back layers of understanding, and there's always another layer underneath.
That's a good way to put it.
But let's go back to those swimming squirrels for a second.
Okay.
It makes you wonder, like, why would they even need to swim?
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem a bit counterintuitive for, like, a tree-dwelling creature?
Well, the fact that they can swim so well suggests it was important for their survival at some point. Maybe their ancestors lived in areas prone to flooding or needed to cross rivers to find food or escape predators.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like nature gave them a hidden superpower, just in case they needed it.
exactly.
And what about that lone gray squirrel venturing into red squirrel territory?
Yeah,
That seems pretty risky.
it does, doesn't it? This could be a sign of resource scarcity, pushing the gray squirrel out of its usual habitat. Maybe even forcing it to take a gamble in a rival's territory.
So it's not just about finding food, it's about adapting to survive,
Right,
even if it means facing danger.
exactly. It shows how dynamic animal behavior can be.
Right.
They're not just following a set script, they're constantly adjusting to their environment and circumstances.
It's like they're playing a real-life game of strategy.
I like that.
figuring out the best moves to stay alive and thrive.
And
And this reminds me of something you mentioned earlier, how our knowledge of the natural world is constantly evolving.
right. The misidentified buffalo are a perfect example of that.
They are.
It's a reminder that even historical records can be flawed.
Right.
We should always approach information with a healthy dose of curiosity and skepticism,
Yeah.
ready to adapt our understanding as new evidence emerges.
So what we think we know today might be completely different tomorrow.
It's possible.
That's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
It is.
But it makes exploring the natural world even more fascinating, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There's always something new to learn, new connections to make.
Right.
It's a never-ending adventure of discovery.
I love that perspective. It's not about having all the answers.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the questions and the thrill of exploration.
Exactly.
But let's bring it back to our furry little friends for a moment.
Okay.
What do you think these observations about squirrels tell us about their evolution and adaptation?
Well, the fact that squirrels can swim suggests that this ability might have been important for their survival at some point in their evolutionary history. Perhaps their ancestors lived in areas prone to flooding, or maybe they needed to cross rivers or lakes to find food or escape predators.
That makes sense. It's like nature equips its creatures with the tools they need to thrive,
Right.
even if those tools seem hidden or unnecessary at first glance.
Exactly.
And the gray squirrels venture into red squirrel territory. It speaks to their adaptability,
Absolutely.
like their willingness to push boundaries and explore new possibilities,
Yeah.
even in the face of danger.
Precisely. It highlights the dynamic nature of animal behavior and how creatures are constantly adjusting to their environment and circumstances.
Right.
They're not static beings. They're constantly evolving and adapting to survive and reproduce.
It's survival of the fittest in action, right?
Yes.
The creatures that are most adaptable to change are the ones that are most likely to succeed.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that nature is not a fixed entity, but rather a constantly evolving system. Species are always adapting to new challenges and opportunities.
Right.
And those that can't keep up, they risk extinction.
That's a sobering thought, but also an inspiring one.
Yeah.
It shows the incredible power of nature and the resilience of life itself.
Absolutely.
And it underscores the importance of conservation efforts to protect biodiversity
For sure.
and to ensure that future generations can continue to marvel at the wonders of the natural world.
Well said.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from swimming squirrels to the ever-evolving understanding of the natural world.
It's been a good deep dive.
But before we wrap up this episode, I want to touch upon something that's been on my mind.
Okay, what's that?
Well, we've been talking about how these squirrels are adapting to their environments
Yeah.
and even taking risks to survive. It makes you wonder what other amazing adaptations are out there, hidden in plain sight.
You're right.
What else are we missing?
That's a fantastic question. It really speaks to the idea that we're only just beginning to understand the complexities of the natural world.
Yeah.
For all we've learned, there are undoubtedly countless mysteries still waiting to be discovered.
It's almost like nature is this giant puzzle, and we're just starting to put the pieces together.
I like that.
And who knows what incredible picture will emerge as we continue to explore.
Exactly. And the best part is that anyone can be a part of this exploration.
Yeah.
You don't need a fancy degree or expensive equipment to make new discoveries.
Right.
All you need is a curious mind and a willingness to look a little closer at the world around you.
That's so true. I think sometimes we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life
Yeah,
and forget to appreciate the wonders that are right under our noses.
absolutely. Taking a moment to observe the birds in your backyard,
Yeah.
the insects crawling on a leaf, or even just the clouds passing overhead can reveal a whole universe of hidden beauty and complexity.
It's like a reminder that magic exists everywhere, even in the seemingly ordinary.
Yeah,
We just need to open our eyes and pay attention.
they do.
But speaking of paying attention, I think it's time we turn our focus to you, our listener. We've been digging into some fascinating squirrel behavior, and it makes you wonder, what about your own experiences? Have you ever seen a squirrel do something totally unexpected?
I bet some of our listeners have amazing squirrel stories.
Yeah.
Maybe you've seen them swimming or digging elaborate tunnels or even outsmarting a bird feeder.
Right?
It would be fantastic to hear about those observations.
It really goes to show that there's so much we can learn from simply observing the world around us.
Absolutely.
It's like a constant treasure hunt. You never know what you might find.
Speaking of treasure hunts,
Yeah.
let's go back to that excerpt about the buffalo in California for a moment.
Okay.
It's easy to chuckle at those early explorers getting their geography mixed up,
Right.
but it's actually a powerful reminder.
Oh, how so?
Well, it highlights that even seemingly solid knowledge can change. Those explorers were considered experts in their time,
Right.
but they still made mistakes.
They did.
It reminds us to stay humble, be open to new information, and to never stop questioning.
So it's not about being right or wrong. It's about embracing the journey of learning and discovery.
Exactly. And that journey doesn't have to be limited to the natural world. It applies to everything: art, history, science,
Right.
even our own personal beliefs and assumptions.
That's such a great point. It's like we're all explorers in our own way, constantly navigating the unknown and trying to make sense of the world around us.
Absolutely. And that's what makes life so exciting, isn't it? The constant possibility of surprise, the thrill of uncovering something new, the joy of connecting the dots and expanding our understanding.
It's like we're all part of this grand, interconnected web of knowledge. And each new discovery, no matter how small, adds to the richness and complexity of the tapestry.
Beautifully put. And that's what I hope our listeners take away from this deep dive. A renewed sense of wonder, a thirst for exploration, and the understanding that there's always more to learn, more to discover, more to connect with.
So to our listener, we encourage you to keep those minds curious and those eyes open.
Yes.
Embrace the unexpected, challenge your assumptions, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to uncover the next amazing squirrel secret.
Or even rewrite history with your own observations.
Exactly. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the surprising world of squirrel behavior.
It's been fun.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey of discovery as much as we have.
Me too.
Until next time, keep asking questions and stay curious.